So this is a message I received some days ago. Um, so it reads, "Hi, I'm a subscriber and a fan and lover of Peugeot car owners. Please, I like to make an inquiries from one of your videos I watched on YouTube in regards to Peugeot 206 and 307 engine maintenance, timing belt and tensioner replacements. Like in your video, you suggested buying TU5JP4 over TU3JP engines, and that's because is the part for the maintenance is easily available than the ones for Peugeot 206. What do you suggest is the situation? What do you suggest is the situation still that way till today? Um, what do you suggest is the situation still that way till today? Because I'm considering buying 206, 207 with TU3JP engine for my customer because of fuel consumption, and I'm worried about maintenance because I drive 12 hours every day. I'm not sure I understand not sure I understand this thing. It's kind of confusing. But I'll try my best to read meaning into some of these things. He said I watch YouTube in regards to 206, and I suggested buying TU5JP over TU3JP engines. You see, that's the thing with some people. When you watch my videos, others one sometimes some people will be complaining, "Hey, your videos are too long, this and that." Watch the entire video for you to understand my advice or the main purpose of that video. You watch the first few minutes, or you see the title of the video, then you assume you've understood my message on that video. I don't recall where I will say TU3JP engine, you should run away from it. No, I don't recall ever saying that. So I can't say which video you watched. What I will tell you is this, unless maybe you are referring to a different engine model, but as long as TU3JP4, no, TU3JP, I can't, why would I say something I don't even believe in? No, there's no point. I understand that there are sometimes you may have an opinion on something, then the opinion can change. Yes, but not in this case. What I will tell you is, yes, TU3JP is a good engine, but when it comes to timing belt, because I think you mentioned about timing belt, when it comes to timing belt, there are TU3JP engine. For those who don't know, it's actually a 1.4 liter engine, petrol engine that you find very common in 206. Now, when you come to that engine, they have about two or three different timing belts, even though the same engine, same TU3JP engine, same model, but the production years or so, they kind of change some things. In fact, I don't even know if it's even a matter of production. It's just that there are versions of them. So not all of them have the same timing belt. And another thing is, sometimes, especially in Nigeria, people will open a 206 engine and say, "Oh, this is a 1.4 liter engine." In that case, they are referring to that TU3JP engine, not knowing that it's not actually the TU3JP. It's not also the 1.4 liter engine, no. Because there are two other engine models that look like the TU3JP, the one Nigerians call, that's the common one that is 1.4. There is a 1.1 liter which is TU1JP. Is it? TU1JP or something like that. That's a 1.1 liter. Then there's another one which is TU5JP, which that is 1.6 liter engine. So these three different engine models, the 1.1, the 1.4, the 1.6. What I mean by I'm talking about the engine capacity, that's CC, cubic capacities, or different model TU1JP, TU3JP, and TU5JP. They look alike. Though with technical eye, you might be able to differentiate, but ordinarily with your normal basic eye, if you are not a technician, not even all technicians know how can differentiate both. So you might be thinking, oh, this is the, and they all have their timing belts are not the same as well. So that's why sometimes I'll be like, see, if you are going for this engine, know specifically which one you are going for. So that to know, not all of them, not all those timing belts are also easily available in Nigeria. That's what I mean by saying if that's particular video you are referring to. Maybe I think I must have done videos where I'm explaining some of these things in the past, educating people why there are differences in the timing belts. And if you go and use the wrong timing belt and put in the engine, for example, if the timing belt on one particular TU5JP, I think the TU5JP use only one timing belt. When I mean one, I mean the number of teeth on the belt. Let's assume it's 108. The one on the TU3JP, the 1.4 liter engine, could be 104. If you take the one of 108 and put in engine that is meant to run with 104 teeth, it means the tension, you won't be able to tension it well, it will be too loose. So no matter what you do, if engine spin for a while, it will jump. Then it will damage your cylinder. If you take the one of 101 and put on the one that's supposed to work with 102, 104, it might be too tight. So if you accelerate the car very hard, it's enough to cut the belt. Even to put the belt, you have to struggle. You may not even enter easily. So forcing it to, basically you are damaging the belt before you can even enter. So that's why I don't know if that's the video you are referring to. So that's what I mean by, if you are going for this, then understand there are differences in the belts, and not all of those belts are available in Nigeria, or okay, let me use the word easily available. That you remember, I said always watch my video to the end. And also maybe the first few seconds I said not available, but now I've qualified it easily available. Before someone say, hey, but I bought it the other day one place, I said easily available. There is about only one of these different belts or so that you can, any shop you enter, there's a high probability you get that belt. Why the other two, man, you may end up the whole time you may not find it. So there's a possibility that it might be easier for you to just go online and order it from outside Nigeria. You see where I'm coming from, rather than calling the Lagos, calling Kaduna, calling Abuja, nobody will have that number of teeth. Because it's not just about part number, it's about the number on that teeth. Is it 104? Is it 108? Is it 101 teeth? And I think I mentioned you need to count it. Before you change timing belt on a 206, let me explain it, educate you guys. And as long as it's a TU, it's either the TU1JP, TU3JP, or TU5JP. See, if you buy that vehicle, especially if it's Nigeria, even if it's Tokumbo, because there's also a possibility that they've changed that engine. Probably most unlikely wise before they ship the car to Nigeria, but most likely before the car gets to you, even if it's a Tokumbo, like I said, there are times they will ship a car, you enter Nigeria and the engine will be weak. So the dealer or the seller will decide to change the engine before he sells it to be able to make money, rather than selling car with a dead engine. So it's going to affect the resale value. So they will not go and bring a wrong engine amount. So that's why I said forget about, remove the belt, confirm number one that the timing is set. You have to diagnose, use a good scanning tool. Scan to be sure that it doesn't report any issue about the timing. Then remove the belt and then count it, the number of teeth. Even if you are not ready, you maybe it's not one of the ones that you can be able to get the belt easily. Put it back and continue, keep using the car or go and park the car, whatever, until you find the belt before you change it. Then you might be lucky, you will not be one of those ones that are easily available. That is, by the way, for 206. Now, what I'm telling you doesn't mean you only find these engines in 206. So it's just that they are common. That's why in Nigeria they refer them as 206 engines. You find, for example, the TU3JP, is it TU3A? You also find it in fact, TU3JP is basically like TU3A engine. That's how I see it. You find it in 206 plus, 207, 307. You understand? So I'm not saying you only, but you also have idea. So, but the TU5JP4, which is the common 1.6 liter you find in 307. That one, yeah, they use it. It's only one timing belt, but it's not the same water pump. It's not the same. No, is it? Yeah, the water pump. The water pump. I think the water pump are the same. The only difference is the timing roller. The timing roller are not the same. The water pump, no, the belts not the same. Then I think that's something I also yet to confirm. The sprocket, the timing sprocket, those two, the camshaft and the exhaust. Camshaft sprockets. Whether the number of teeth on those sprockets are actually the same, because that's what differentiates those 1.1, 1.4, 1.6 you find in 206, which is the 1.6 I'm referring to TU5JP, not the TU5JP4. So that particular, the sprockets are not the same. If this one may have 130 teeth on the sprocket, the other TU3JP may have 104, 120, or 135, that kind of thing. So if you go and use a different belt that is not meant for that sprocket to work with the crankshaft sprocket, and then the water pump, the tensioner, okay, TU3JP doesn't have a roller. It only has a tensioner for the timing. Doesn't have an idler, that's the timing roller. But the TU5 does have. Which is the TU5JP4, the one I can remember. So that one is center one timing belt that uses. Doesn't have, even though it has about 2 versions of TU5JP4. But it's a water pump. No, it's same timing belt. But then the rollers and the tensioners, they are different. They are not identical. There's a version with like the one you could say the TU5JP4, the 1.6 liter petrol engine you find in 307, T5 307, etc. Those early ones. Their timing belt roller, the timing belt tensioner, different from the one you find, the same engine you find in 307, T6 307, that's from 2006 upward. They are not the same, but the same timing belt. Yeah, so if that is what you are referring to, yeah, you could make sense that, okay, in terms of timing belt, it may be easier for you with the TU5JP4. In other words, it might be easier for you maybe with 307. But then, like I said, both vehicles share same engines. As far as they share same engines. These engines I just mentioned, these 4 engine models, both of them have, okay, not all. 307 have only 2 engines that you find in 206. But that 1.1 liter engine, you will not find it in 307. So I'm just focusing on this timing belt because that's one of the points you mentioned in trying to I don't know, you're saying that I compared these 2 cars, or 3 cars. I don't know which. There's a particular engine I mentioned. Is it ET something in 307 that I advise people to stay away from? I don't know if that's the one you are confusing with TU3JP. Please go back and watch that video. If it's that engine, I think it's ET something. I think I even posted a picture of that engine. Stay away from that. Any 307 with that. Even 206. Even 206 also has that engine. It's ET something. You know, even when you see the engine, you also know it's not common in Nigeria. The parts are not available. You can only get used parts. And the used part means probably only from Lagos. Very few ones. They are not common. And just stay away. Unless you are willing to be importing parts from outside Nigeria for your engine. So go back and watch and be specific. Watch, I'm always very specific. The ones I'm not sure of, I'll let you know. But once I'm sure and I'm mentioning specifically the engine model, and if I have the picture, most times I will show the picture so you see it. Go there, pause the video, screenshot it. So I don't go and confuse yourself. That part of maintenance is easily available than the ones Peugeot. What do you suggest in situation? See that because I'm considering buying 206 with TU3JP. You say either 206 or 307. I think that's what you're referring to. You say for your customer, you want to buy 206 or 207 for your customer. You say you are worried because you'll be driving the car for 12 hours. I don't understand. Driving the car 12 hours every day. Are you buying car for somebody for you to be using the car every day? I don't know. Are you buying? I don't know. So I think that clears it. If you are referring to every other part of it's not only timing that is the only maintenance part of a vehicle. Timing and auxiliary belt kit replacement are basically preventive maintenance. But there are other ones that you do mostly. 206, I'm not a fan of 206. People, if you are constant, if you are a subscriber in my YouTube channel and you watch my videos constantly, you know that I'm not a fan of 206. Not because I don't recommend it. That if somebody comes to me and say he wants to buy 206, I will discourage the person. Or if I see a good one that I won't buy, I purchased 206 for people in the past. Very clean ones, and I will recommend, hey, go ahead and buy this car since that's what you want. But my point is still, when you ask me to give you options, it will be among the first ones. That's my point. There's better ones. 207 is better than 206. Except that there are some engine in 207 I'll tell you stay away from. Unless you are loaded. But if you want a 206, if you want a 207 with 206 low maintenance cost, then in fact, if you want a better 206 with a lower maintenance cost, then I'll tell you go and buy a 207 with that your so-called 206 engine. The maintenance cost is much lower than 206. That's what I tell you, which is the TU3JP, the 1.4 liter. Go and look for either 206 plus or 207 with that engine. Factory one, I'm not talking about those ones they've converted, unless you are sure they've done the conversion well. If you get the factory one, you will be the one to be tired of that vehicle. That's why you don't go and abuse it electrical, because some will say, but it has more electrical complex system. Sure, yes, it does. The newer vehicle, the more electrically complex they become. I get that. But my point is, if you are the type that don't abuse cars, if you buy 207 or 206 plus, not 206, so I said 206 plus, there are two different cars. If you buy 206 plus or 207 with TU3JP engine, you will be pitying people driving 206. At least those ones driving 206 with that 1.4. The only 206 you now say that has upper hand with 206, or that, in other words, that will be better than the 207 or 206 plus will be when you switch to 2.0 liter 206. Then you know that whatever maintenance, high maintenance or whatever weakness 206 has, at least you are enjoying the performance the car has to offer. The 206 with EW10J4, the 206 with the almighty EW10J4S. both cars, once you see a 206 with any of these engines, they're all pure manual. So if you're an automatic person, forget, you won't enjoy it, forget, it's not for you. All 206 with 2.0 liter petrol engine from factory, they were all manual. They are designed for sports. They are not meant for no. Now for people who want, they truly enjoy driving, that want to catch some fun, at least once in a while, or constantly when you are in emotion. Yeah, those are the people they design the cars. So even though at that time, remember, Peugeot had a lot of manual cars at that time. No, AL4 was already in production at that time. At least Peugeot had started mounting it, but not for in 206. In 206, as far as those 2.0 engines are concerned. Petrol, I know there's a diesel, I think diesel 2.0, 206 as well. I know less maybe 1.6, but for petrol, they're all manual. So in that case, it's okay, it makes sense. It makes sense to go for 206 for that. But if just for normal drive, 1.6, 1.4, because even 206, even 207, if I recall, I'm trying to remember, even 207, I think they also have that TU5. Yes, if I remember, they have that TU5JP4 engine. So, which, instead of going for the 206 with the TU5JP4 engine, that revised 1.6 liter petrol engine that is common in 307, you can go get it in 207. But it's not that common. I'm trying to remember too, yeah, honestly, unless I have to check the user manual again. Even if I think they did produce, but the one I'm very sure, I'm certain that I know I've driven many times is the 1.4, which is TU3J. I think in the 207 now they named it TU3A. I'm trying to remember whether it has that VVT. Can't remember. It's still TU3A, but I don't see any difference because the same power, no difference. So, some will be wondering what's my issue with 206. The suspension. The rear suspension, that's what Nigeria, you see that in Nigeria is called back beam, which is basically the cross member. The rear cross member, the 206, was a poor design. I know somebody was telling me recently in Abuja there's somebody that repairs it, but maybe they're already good at doing that. But I'm telling you, even guys, people that bought them in Europe, brand new, also suffered seriously for that. They couldn't even find a way to fix it. Some of them attempted to fix it, but we fix it, drive it for a few kilometers, you'll be like, you wasted your money. So the only way out is to change it. And you can't get new one. So if you end up buying another used one, you don't know the lifespan. Maybe it's almost about to. So it's it's hard to see somebody that drives a 206 that have not changed that rear cross member or the back beam. Unless you just started using the vehicle or you barely use the car. But once you drive it constantly, rough road, bad road, there are people I know that within a span of 5 years or so, they must have changed it like 2 times or 3 times. And it's not cheap now. It's about, I heard it's about 100 and something thousand. So the one you are putting, you're not even sure you will be going back to it. Then the front suspension, to change, what we regard, which as in the general name is wishbone, but you can also call it lower arm or low arm. So to change it in a 206, now the car users won't really see it as an issue because you are not the one, especially if you are not doing repairs yourself. So it won't really bother. All you need is give somebody to do it. You pay the person, so it's not an issue. But those of us who are actually doing the repairs, that's one of the worst work I want to do. Changing low arm or wishbone on a 206, the front one, or what generally regards as lower arm. Even when I mean change, I mean just to remove it. Even if you are not changing it, you want to remove it and put it back because of work we are doing. Remove is one thing, putting it back is another. The what's it called? The ball joint. The ball joint is permanently attached on it. So which ball joint can fail. So and it's supposed to be independent in terms of meaning you're supposed to be able to detach it from the wishbone, then put another one. But this one, once it fails, you are changing the complete unit. There are some cars like that though. I'm not saying it's all, because I know, like, is it 301? Our 207 own, I think, is also permanently attached, or it can be detached, removed. There's another Peugeot car that has, but their own is kind of has a better shape, kind of. At least my point is removing the lower arm is not that difficult compared to that of 206. Putting it back in 206, any mechanic that says I don't know what I'm saying, that person is lying to you. It's a very poor design. So that's, in as much as people hype 206, and I don't have any problem with that. I will still recommend it. But I'm telling you, if you come to me and seeking for a better option, it is available. The only thing is, can you afford it? In fact, I don't know right now, 206 and 207, which one is more expensive? Maybe 206 might be, because the demand is higher, at least in this northern part of Nigeria. I don't know much about 207. It's been long. I even price one. I'm talking about foreign use that are in good condition. I'm not talking about Nigerian use, because those ones you can't really tell. 206 is still in higher demand than 207. Because most people get scared from 207 because of the EPC engines in them. Those are the early EPC engines. They will give you check it. Check it, they will deal with you. Including the GTI that is supposed to have same or even higher power than the 206 with the 2.0 liter engine. Because that would have made sense to say, okay, go for 206 GT, 207 GTI, which is also only manual. But because that THP engine, those early ones, not just THP, VTI 120, those engines are... Okay, so now it makes sense, So 206, 207, I'll tell you go for 207, and you know the one I'm referring to. So make sure it's factory 1.4 in them. If it's converted, confirm the conversion. Don't go and say I recommended conversion. You went and bought one messed up one. Because if it's factory, you can always easily fix. It may cost you, but at least but once there's a conversion, your issue might be the conversion, not the fault, the components. Because if the conversion was not done well, especially the electrical parts, these components will not work. So it will stress you more than removing a component and put another one, than trying to figure out how to make the wire work with your ECU, or what Nigeria call brain bus, or the sensor to work with brain bus. That will be your headache if not properly done. See, so I want you to understand that. So make sure you check well to be sure if you are buying, is it converted from EPCs or diesel engine to this? If it was done, fine. Check, you open your eyes like 3 times when you are now inspecting the car to be sure that the conversion was properly done. Even if there is a small error in the conversion, is this something you can live with? Because if you are buying any converted car, any error you see, just assume there's a high probability you won't be able to correct it. It will stay like that for the rest of your ownership of that vehicle, unless you decide to convert it back to the original engine. I want you to also understand all these things, because you're not the first, you're not the second person that will watch this video. I'll still go and do the same mistake, and now start looking for who to come and rescue us, survive, make you lose all the nightmares within a day. They work like that too. Some people have done that. They now expect me to to wipe off all the nightmares within 1 hour. It's not possible. So so that's the best. I think that's the only thing I can understand from this. But I know it's a long video. Some people will say complain, hey, this guy, you took the talk, you do they will still watch all the video. They will still go and put themselves, become the same victim I'm trying to prevent. Even if it takes 1 hour to do this video, learn something from this. Every word I'm saying here is from experience, from what people have gone through. Or I see other people suffering. I don't need to mention their names. So I'm trying to use it to educate you not to fall. Don't make that mistake. But No, human beings will always be human beings. But it's good for some people to learn the hard way sometimes. There are some things I made mistake. I also learned the hard way. But the thing is, sometimes I share them, especially it has to do with cars. I will share. The other things, my private life, I don't have to share with anybody. But stuff like this, even when me, with all my knowledge, sometimes I still make mistake. I learned it the hard way. I'll still come and say, so that you don't have to suffer that unless you want to. But be man enough to bear be accountable to your decisions. All right, so like the video, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.